Much of Senegal's coastline is untouched and stunningly beautiful. Clear skies and verdant waterways evoke a sense of calm. In the country's capital, Dakar, life is rather more frenetic. This is a city bursting with life. A love of sport, both watching and playing, seems to unite the population. On the streets and beaches, the people have their own obsessions, their own heroes. This is wrestling, Senegalese style. This is Inside Africa. Modou LO is no ordinary athlete. He is one of the champions in a sport that is both loved and revered in Senegal. Traditional wrestling, which is also known as lutte or lamb, mixes ceremony with immense strength and courage. In Senegal, the sport is thriving in an era where many young people are turning their back on traditional activities. Its greatest fighters are champions of the people, treated with respect and a degree of adulation.
As a child, wrestling was a passion for me. I heard about many champions. We lived with those champions and they inspired us to become wrestlers. With the passing of time, you finally make a choice between your job and wrestling. Wrestling is part of the heritage of our country. It was practiced a long time ago by our ancestors. After their activities like fishing or labouring, they used to do it in their free time. This sport comes from the passion of our ancestors. Now it's a national sport.
LO's manager says people who succeed in the sport quickly acquire a certain status in Senegalese society.
Ils sont considérés comme des modèles.
They are considered role models. When children watch Modou LO, for example, they identify themselves to him. As soon as he comes out, children run towards him and cheer for him. This is really heartwarming.
Rien que ça, ça fait une joie au cœur.
While one would expect a manager to talk up his client, there is no questioning LO's popularity. On any given day, crowds gather outside his house, eager to catch a glimpse or a word with one of their heroes. Despite his huge success, LO is a modest man who is happy to share what he has. For many years, LO has had the same training partner. Yoram Gay is a huge and very thoughtful man.
Wrestlers are strong and want to be champions. It is something important for them because it is a job for them and they make their living doing it. It is also a matter of passion and culture. Each wrestler certainly needs a wrestling background. Wrestling is a culture, an art, and you need to have the background to do it.
To become a successful wrestler requires more than being born a certain size. It needs the same levels of dedication shown by all great athletes. In Dakar, traveling to the gym for training involves negotiating and, where possible, avoiding the city's daily traffic jams. The sessions can be brutal. LO trains up to 3 times a day. His regime involves a lot of early morning starts and, alongside the intensive gym work, he needs to make sure he has plenty of sleep and a lot of food. While the rewards for a successful wrestler can, by Senegalese standards, be relatively high, stars like LO remain firmly grounded. This is something his parents can almost certainly take the credit for.
For a long time, I didn't know Modou was a wrestler, but when I knew, I encouraged him. I told him to show courage and respect towards his parents and relatives. He was very respectful towards his elders and also his little brothers and sisters. The advice I gave to him is to be courageous and be respectful towards people. I also advised him to be humble and respect the elderly and his young brothers and sisters. We are very proud of him.
His mother remembers how he started in the sport.
One day he returned from the wrestling tournament with a large crowd behind him, and I asked what was going on. They told me Modou won a bag of rice. In the morning, I shared the rice with the young beggars. The remainder I cooked for him and his friends. I pray every day for his longevity, good health, and a lot of success. I also say thank you to all of our district of Parcel because they support him in his fights.
Lo rejects the celebrity status that could come with his success, saying that it is against the principles that first attracted him to the sport. His time at the top means he can afford a certain standard of lifestyle, and the government in Senegal is pumping more money into the sport. One of the country's top sports writers says it is impossible to overestimate how important wrestling is to Senegalese people.
La lutte est aujourd'hui sans conteste le sport le plus populaire au Sénégal.
Today, wrestling is without a doubt the most popular sport in Senegal. It was only after Senegal's independence that we first started practicing wrestling with hands, which is the most popular and the most praised sport among young people. The sport's popularity plays an extremely important role economically and socially. Wrestling has become a social regulator. It contributes towards developing the country, and it's an important tool in bringing Senegalese people together.
Wrestling can be a tough sport, but in Senegal it remains hugely popular. On the beaches of Dakar, a new generation is learning what it takes to succeed in this most traditional form of combat.